Hello, Assalamu alaikum. In this video, we will understand about the physiology of cell. The function of cell in this video we will understand. So the general overview we will learn about the physiology of cell. So let's begin to understand. Cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life. This is the definition of cell. And each cell have unique job in organism like hepatocyte, myocyte, osteocyte, and other type of cell like neuron. The division of cell known as mitosis. This mitosis will increase the number of cell to increase the growth of the organism like human growth and maintain the diploid cell, the chromosome. Special cell division called meiosis produces gamete for the sexual reproduction like sperm and egg. Stem cell are those cells who can reproduce specialized cell like neuron, hepatocyte and myocyte. So the stem cell itself also replicate while also differentiate and proliferate to make a new type of cell after the maturation like RBC, WBC arise from the stem cell from the bone marrow. The type of cell is eukaryote and prokaryote. Eukaryotes it can be multicellular or unicellular and it's contain true nucleus while prokaryote is a bacteria contain a DNA as a circular DNA and plasmid is the extracellular extra DNA for the vector and it can be also the bacteria also the multicellular and unicellular but the blue green algae is the cyanobacteria is the multicellular bead-like structure are present while the eukaryote is a unicellular and multicellular both are present. DNA is very important for eukaryotes as well as prokaryotes and DNA replicate for each division. DNA is the genetic material in the form of chromosome. Each species contains different number of chromosome in the form of pairs. Like human contain 23 pairs of chromosome in the form of 46 chromosome total and 23 pairs. Let's understand about the stem cell. So the stem cell is the type of cell which that is potential, the totipotent stem cell is the potential to produce different type of cell like uninucleated, example is hepatocyte or stem cell itself, or multinucleated, example is the myocytes or neutrophil. Neutrophil is the leukocyte. Myocyte is a muscle is contain multinucleated because the nucleus can replicate itself inside of the cytoplasm while the anucleated is the RBC the red blood cell which that is anucleated produced from the stem cell from the bone marrow. The state of cell is three types turgid, normal or shrink. Turgid means the hydration, more hydration, while the normal is normal water, while the anhydrobiosis will lead to shrinkage of the cell, and this will lead to cell injury. Amoeboid cell also used for the amoeboid movement like macrophage on the basis of their movement and the shape of cells on the basis of enterocytes. A brush border cell contain a microvilli which that is the cilia cell like enterocyte while the example is the goblet cell is the secretory cell produce secretion the mucus the mucin on the basis of their shape anatomically the squamous cuboidal epithelium and palisade or spindle shape cell can be possible on the basis of their region like skin like liver and blood vessel etc. Cell signaling, let's understand about that. Signaling is very important for homeostasis. Like one cell will give the signal to another for change the physiology. Like it also autocrinally bind from itself to change and proliferate or growth. While the paracrinally means cell to cell. Endocrinally means cell to cell, but the blood circulatory system is important. The distance signaling is the protista. This is the unicellular free living in the water will produce cytokines, chemokines, chemoattractant, which that will lead to recruit the haploid unicellular cell and haploid to haploid unite. It means the sexual reproduction is important for it to produce the diploid. This diploid again replicate and meiosis will occur to produce again haploid, and this alternation of generation will occur for the evolutionary process and point of evolutionary view. Let's understand about the cell structure of plant and animal. This is the plant cell and the animal cell, and the plant cell contain a cell wall while the animal cell not contain, while the chloroplast is the organelle not present in the animal cell while the plant cell contain. Cell wall made up of cellulose in plant and chitin in fungi, and this is the chloroplast. The chloroplast is important organelle, consume the light and carbon dioxide to produce oxygen while also produce the glucose, and glucose converted into the starch. Starch is the amylose and amylopectin. Mesosome, peroxisome, and the glyoxysome contain an enzyme which that will fatty acid to convert glucose, and also the oxidative stress inhibition. On the other hand, the endoplasmic reticulum, which that is used for the protein synthesis as well as the packaging of protein, because the ribosome are present in the endoplasmic reticulum, which that is use the mRNA to synthesize protein. The mitochondria is the powerhouse of cell, produce ATP from ADP. And in this way, the glucose is used to produce pyruvate, and this is the basically cytoplasm and the surrounded by membrane. So the glucose produce pyruvate, and pyruvate go into the mitochondria, and the mitochondria produce ATP from this pyruvate through Krebs cycle and electron transport chain. This is the endoplasmic reticulum contain rough endoplasmic reticulum if it means the ribosome are present. Smooth contain less ribosome. So the polysome formation occur in the mRNA to produce synthesis of protein, and the protein will mature and go into the Golgi bodies, and the Golgi bodies will produce the vesicle like insulin vesicle will exocytose on the basis of requirement. This is the mitochondria and flagella and the plasma membrane, Golgi bodies. Golgi bodies used for the vesicle formation of the protein and secretion on the basis of requirement. This endoplasmic reticulum and plasma membrane. But cell wall is not present and chloroplast as well. DNA is made up of thymine, cytosine, guanine, and adenine. This is the thymine always bond with the adenine, and this hydrogen bonding will helical structure of the DNA will arise. Transcription will produce the mRNA, and mRNA will translate into the protein. Let's understand about the mitochondria is the double membrane organelle like a chloroplast. But we will understand not chloroplast, but this is the mitochondria. Mitochondria is double membrane organelle, contain outer membrane and inner membrane. Outer membrane contain a pyruvate transporter channel as well as carnitine translocase enzyme. In this way, the inside, the intracellular matrix of the mitochondria produce NADH will oxidize to produce proton, pump out into the extracellular matrix, and rushes the extracellular matrix proton gradients will produce with the four complexes are present, run the electron transport chain, and in this way the ATP synthase enzyme used to proton pump inside again due to the osmotic gradients, proton gradient, and in this way also the UCP1 will work like this but produce heat, but ATPase will produce ATP synthetase enzyme produce ATP from ADP. Anyhow, from the 4 proton, it means the 1 ATP will produce from the 4 proton move inside. Anyhow, this is the intracellular matrix, extracellular matrix, outer membrane, and inner membrane. This is the pyruvate transporter. This pyruvate transporter channel allow to transport pyruvate, and in this way the pyruvate will move inside. Anyhow, let's understand about the receptor and other channels. Remember that the channel is many types, like channel is the semi-permeability, the osmosis can occur, diffusion through without channel, water can diffuse or gases can diffuse like oxygen, carbon dioxide. On the other hand, the active and passive transport. Active means the ATP used to transport material, while the passive transport means the exchange on the basis of osmotic gradients and higher concentration to the lower concentration, and in this way the channel is required. On the other hand, the aquaporin channel required for the water movement. Calcium, potassium, sodium channel is used for the movement, influx of the calcium or outflux of the calcium, potassium and sodium, and active and passive transport also required. And in this, the ATP can use or not use on the basis of requirement. For example, when ATP is used, it means against the osmotic gradients can move the material. In this way, the nerve impulse is important, the active transport example. The diffusion can be directly move of the gases into the cell, while on the other hand a lot of type of channel like glut2-1,5 channel is required the ATP to move glucose into the cell, and glycolysis will produce the pyruvate produce ATP from the mitochondria. Anyhow, the glycolysis is the anaerobic respiration, while the mitochondria use the aerobic respiration because Krebs cycle and electron transport chain require the oxygen. It means the oxygen is requirement. In this way, aerobic respiration will produce heat as well as ATP. On the other hand, this is the channel regulation of the intra and extracellular cation and anion like chloride. And in this way, here is the neurotransmitter binding receptor like G couple protein receptor or hormone binding receptor or chemical binding receptor. It means we can say that this is a ligand. Ligand can be a lipophobic and hydrophilic, will bind with the receptor. An intracellular trimeric G couple protein receptor contain alpha, beta, and gamma. This show in this animation, and in this way the GDP will the trimeric G protein will be separate after the GTP conversion, and the alpha subunit will be separate, and in this way the alpha unit will be separate to cascade of phosphorylation to produce cyclic AMP in the presence of adenylyl cyclase enzyme, and in this way it will trigger the protein kinase C pathway and the inositol, and this is a tyrosine kinase receptor like insulin receptor is used for the glucose channel opening. So the GLUT channel opening, this is the tyrosine kinase receptor. On the other hand, the adenylate cyclase enzyme used to produce cyclic AMP, GMP, protein kinase C, inositol 3-phosphate, and mTOR pathway will change the physiology, change the DNA regulation, and in this way the on the other hand, this is the hydrophobic lipophilic steroid binding protein bind with the steroid because it is move into the directly. On the other hand, the nuclear receptor also present and nuclear pore. The cell division is the different. In this way, the mitosis is the simple cell division, which that produce the number of cell, the copies of the number of cell. Like one cell will divide into two cell, and both are same. And basically, is the parental cell is same of the daughter cell. While this is the 4n2 again produce 2n that diploid from the tetraploid. In this way, here is the cell divide. This cell division will lead to grow, while the meiosis will produce half number of chromosome containing cell like gametes, sperm and egg, as well as spores. Spores production is sporogenesis, while the gamete production is known as the gametogenesis. This motile cell is sperm and immotile cell is egg. Anyhow, let's understand about the cell organization of the cellular organization and the individual formation and ecosystem formation. So the atom will combine together to form a molecule combine together to form a macromolecule to organelle, and cell to the tissue. Different cell combine together to a compound tissue or simple tissue to form organs, and organ system to the individual, and species to the population, and community to the ecosystem. In this way, basically the different atom combine together to form molecules. So in this manner, I hope you make sense about this. This is the general overview of the physiology of cell. I hope you make sense about this is the revision of the cell, and what do you know about the cell, and what is the missing of the concept in this video. You can give the comment below. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video for this time. Bye.